Hey guys, LootWizard here with another video on Gems of War with my new account playthrough. This is episode 28. So I have 3 kingdoms left to unlock, quest lines here. And for these last 3 ones, I'm probably just going to do 1 kingdom at a time instead of trying to stretch it out for a whole hour, because that's about what it takes to do 2 at one time. So this will be like 3 more episodes for this new account playthrough, and then I'll probably take a break from this new account playthrough and just focus on my main account. And I might come back here just to like do some low level teams for events from time to time, but it's pretty time consuming to play 2 accounts with Gems of War at the same time, because there's so much to do in this game just to keep up with everything. So but before we jump into that, we're going to do Pridelands first, and then I'll probably do Sword's Edge, Merlantis last. Before we jump into Pridelands, let's go ahead and I want to open up just a few keys here just to see if I get lucky with a mythic, which would be really rare. Hey, we got a legendary, Molech. Drains all mana from an enemy. It will deal 8 true damage boosted by mana drained. So obviously this is going to do more damage to mythic troops when they are fully powered, because it will do damage for how much mana it's draining. We've got 20 glory keys to open, and we have nothing. So we're stuck with the troops we got for now. I am trying to level up the Soulforge down here, but as you can see, I need 220 kills to get to the next level for free. And I do recommend doing that for free. Just do how many ever kills it says, level it up. Because once you get it to level 10, that's when you'll be able to craft everything in here. All the weapons, all the legendary and mythic troops that show up in here from week to week. Once I have enough diamonds, which I don't know if I'll get to that point on this account, because it takes 4,000 diamonds to craft a mythic troop, but that is a guaranteed way to get a mythic, and I don't want to do that deal. So okay, we did that. Let's go and do our dungeons really quick, because it is Sunday, and every Sunday you don't want to forget to do your dungeons and Gems of War, because you're going to get 20 diamonds here for this one, and then 30 for this one, and it's usually like, I think, 5, 5, and 10. And then in the offer up here, you're going to get 80 diamonds and 400 shards. And you can always craft diamonds with shards, so that's good. And then there's this daily deal, which will give you 150 diamonds for 150 gems, which is a pretty good deal. But this deal here for gems is only console. If you're on mobile or PC, you will have to pay $4.99 for this daily deal. So that's kind of a bummer. But you should like, if you could set like an alarm on your phone for Sunday, just as a reminder. Sometimes I've done that before. I'm really good at remembering now, but in the early days I was like, sometimes I would forget. I had to go in and do my dungeons. So Sundays are definitely the days you do not want to miss. And I don't know what went on here. I exploded the board, and I got a bunch of red and yellow that fell down, and there's no storm for that. So that was really kind of bizarre. Get rid of that Gorgotha, because he's really starting to be a pain. I don't know why a bunch of yellow just keeps falling down. There's no storm for it. It's weird. But yeah, and you know, like, one of my goals in Gems of War on my main account was to collect all the mythics, and I am getting really close, actually. I only have about 5 left, I think. And I have enough diamonds on my main account to craft one of them. So I only really have like 4 left to get after that thing shows up in the Soulforge. But that is a guaranteed way to get mythics. And you don't even need to collect all of them. That's just something that like I wanted to do. Which is actually kind of hard. Because every single month they release a new mythic. So like if you don't get that monthly mythic every single time they release one, you're just going to get behind every month. And it takes like 2.5 months or so to save up enough diamonds to craft a mythic in the forge. So if you just don't get those new monthly mythics when they come out, you're always going to be behind, which is a little frustrating. That's one of the reasons why I save all of my gem and glory keys for the whole month until that time when the new mythic comes out. But sometimes I don't even get it in those keys. I have to go to VIP keys, which you can only use VIP keys if you spent real money on the game, which it's in a sense that's a little pay to win. I can tell you right now that I wouldn't have probably at least 5 mythics maybe this year. Maybe 4 to 5 mythics this year if it wasn't for VIP keys. So they really get you with some of that. Like, honestly, that's probably one of the reasons, because I don't think I would have spent much money on this game at all if it wasn't for the VIP access of those VIP keys. Because you really do get a much higher chance of getting mythics in the VIP keys compared to, like, gem keys. So sometimes it can be hard to get them in there, too. But I've had pretty good success compared to other keys. And there we go. Alright, so we got all those nice diamonds, and I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and buy this deal and the 150 deal, because why not? Even if I don't play this account much, at least I got those diamonds there in case maybe there'll be a really good legendary troop that I want to craft instead of waiting to save it up for a mythic. But yeah, as I was saying, you don't really need to collect all the mythics. So I did a tier list on mythic troops, and that, it's not like a super official definitive list. It's just like my experience of using those troops in the game. So some people might disagree with where I placed some of them, and that's valid because, I mean, it's based on my opinion. And, there's a lot of different troop combinations in the game, so you can make some troops better if you combine them with other troops. So it's possible that some of the mythics that I ranked a little lower in that list could be better if there's a troop that you combine it with that I didn't discover. But going back to my point, you don't need all of to collect all the mythics in the game to really have a good experience playing Gems of War. And I think that's one of the things that kind of has put some pressure on me as far as like just spending the time, trying to collect all the troops. And one of the reasons too why I really wanted to do that even more was once I started creating videos like this for YouTube, it's like it's pretty important to have as many troops as possible so that you can show teams and all that kind of stuff with those troops. But yeah, you don't need to collect all of them is what I'm saying. Like, it's it's perfectly fine if you just want to play the game casually, and once you collect those 4,000 diamonds, then maybe it'll take you, you know, 3 or 4 months, because maybe you won't do your daily dungeons every single day, and, you know, it's a game. It's not like it's a job. So, you know, Gems of War should be enjoyed as a game, and if it ever starts feeling like it's not a game that you're enjoying, then maybe you should put it down for a while. I mean, that's just, I'm just being honest about, like, I mean, that applies to, like, really any game, in my opinion. You know, I like to play games because it engages my mind into, you know, into the game, like you're actually trying to figure out things, how things work, and I like that aspect of a lot of games. And then the feeling of, oh, you figured something out and it makes you more powerful in the game, or you came up with a strategy that just works really good, you know. And so I like that feeling in games. I think on a previous episode I was talking about how Gems of War is like the only mobile game that I really play. I have tried a few other mobile games, and they just don't. They didn't pull me in like Gems of War did. Like Gems of War has still got some problems with like pricing and the RNG stuff of opening things, and but it had enough like unique art and unique stuff to it that kind of pulled me in. It didn't feel so much like a mobile game when I started playing it like 2 years ago. So I started playing Gems of War like right at the time when they were switching all of the art of the cards, the different style, because it used to look like more, the art used to look like more fantasy based, even like the world map, and then they started changing it to look more like modern, kind of sci-fi-ish. And, you know, I've gotten used to the way it looks now, but I don't know, there's a part of me that kind of liked that older style fantasy look of how the troop cards were designed, and but back in that day, it definitely didn't feel so much like a mobile game. Now it feels like, with all the things that they've introduced, different ads, deals, and all kinds of stuff. Like on mobile now, you can actually watch like ads if you want to get like some kind of rewards, and the rewards aren't really good at all, like for watching those ads. So like it's starting to feel a little more like a mobile game, and I just I don't really like mobile games, but it's still not to that point yet where I'm like, it feels like one of those cookie cutter mobile games that it just feels like somebody just was trying to copy Candy Crush or something. Just threw some stuff together that looks very similar, except it's just called something different. Those games are like the worst, and then they want you to buy like these ridiculous like cosmetic things for like $100, and it's like, what the heck, you know? Like that, I'm not paying that kind of money for just digital cosmetic goods. Not like $100 is insane, because you can go out and you can buy yourself, you know, I mean, a retail game for like a console is like $60 these days, but you know, you could go out and buy a bunch of games for less than that used. You could go to eBay. You could probably find, you know, for $100, you could probably find, you know, 3 to 5 pretty good games that are going to give you a few hundred hours of solid enjoyment on your console without being faced with all the microtransactions and all that stuff. So mobile games are kind of like a ripoff. Like, but mobile games have changed the gaming industry, and that I don't know how I feel about that, you know, like, I remember as a kid getting my first game console for Christmas, and it was NES with Super Mario 3, and I was so excited for that game. I played it over and over, and like now you can play Super Mario Brothers 3 like basically on easy mode, because if you have like I think you can do it on the 3DS, but I know you can do it on the Switch, where you just like you can save anywhere in the level that you're in. So like if you're about to make a couple of jumps and that are difficult, you can just like save your progress right there. So if you mess up those jumps, you can just be like, you know, hey, I'll just load in my save and there we go. Like I remember when I was a kid, they were playing Super Mario 3, and like I did it hard mode. Like it took me months to finally get to the end to beat the final boss in that castle, because I just there was no save points. I didn't save. You had to basically go the whole way with, I mean, you had lives, but you started I think with like 3 lives, and then you had to you gained more lives as you found them, but still some of those jumps and those ice, like the ice world, I remember like having a lot of trouble with the ice world, because like the controls made it feel like it was really slippery. So that was a hard world for me. I don't know if it would be now, but that was but that was my gaming experience as a kid. Like, you bought the system, you bought the game, and it's like, dude, you could play that game over and over and get a lot of enjoyment out of that game without facing like, hey, you know, you want to jump like 2 inches higher, you'd pay us $5. You want to have instead of an orange yellow fireball for Mario, but you want to have like a pink fireball, then pay us $10. I mean, that's how like gaming has become now, and I part of me really does blame mobile gaming for that, because it's like, people are paying money for that stuff, even though it sounds ridiculous. You know, people are paying money for it on those mobile games, and I don't know where I read it, but I read somewhere that one of those mobile games, it was maybe a Call of Duty mobile version that got released fairly recently. I think it was earlier this year, maybe. Some Call of Duty on mobile, like, earned more money than the console Call of Duty game that they had released, which the console version still had like DLC you had to pay for, and microtransactions for skins and stuff. So like that's crazy that a mobile game can make more money like that. And I'm sure that, like, the resources are, or the costs and the resources are less to make a mobile game than it is a full like 3D world and all that, with the big you know, big worlds, big maps, and all the 3D textures and geometry that goes into those worlds, and then like the high-end graphics that they design it for. So mobile, you know, it's not really that graphically intense, and yeah, so I don't know. It's probably easier, cost less to make those mobile games, and then they're just making more money. So that would be a really sad world for me, and for, I know, a lot of gamers, if in like 10 years from now, like, consoles just went away, PC went away, and like everybody was just gaming on their phone, and we just were like, hey, you know, we're just gonna keep spending thousands of dollars on mobile games that basically then just play themselves. Like, that's one thing I just don't understand about mobile games is, and I'll get off the mobile game rant here in a second once I finish this this thought. But I just never understood why people pay money for those mobile games to look cool and everything in there. And then that mobile game basically has a mode where you don't, it's like autoplay. You're not even playing the game. You're basically paying money for the game to play itself. It's like that doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, back to Gems of War, because Gems of War is like technically a mobile game. Now it hasn't reached the point, at least yet, where Gems of War plays itself. So that's a plus. So, but you know, it makes you wonder though how many people, because people are already paying money on Gems of War to basically increase the amount of resources and stuff that they're gaining. So it makes me wonder, like, how many people would actually spend money on Gems of War to, like, whatever mode they hate the most. Like, whether it's explore battles, whether it's PvP, whether it's Guild Wars or some kind of event, whatever event you don't like. Like, for me, my least favorite event is probably Tower of Doom. Just because you got all the mapping and all that stuff, and it's tedious, and, you know, but it makes me wonder how many people would actually spend a lot of money, or at least some money, to just say, hey, I don't want to play this mode, so I'm just going to give you money to have the computer play this mode for me for a certain amount of battles or whatever. Like, it makes me wonder how many people would actually go for that. It's kind of scary to think about it. Like, if Gems of War ever comes to that point, that, in my opinion, will be probably where I just give up on the game, because you'll just have people that just have tons of money to burn and they don't care, and they're just gonna, you know, pay money for, like, the computer to play every mode for them, and then they can just be like, hey, yeah, you know, like on those, because right now you get a power orb if you have the highest score in one of those events. So, like, imagine if you could actually pay for the computer to play any of those event modes, like, let's say the class events that go on. Like, if they made that a paid thing, where you could just buy packages and the computer would just keep playing battles for you. That would just be, you know, somebody would just, like, basically leave their phone on or their console, pay for it, and then just come back from work and the console would be on, the game would just have played, like, thousands of battles for you. Like, and some people probably would find that, like, fun or something. I don't know. But I wouldn't find it that fun, because, like, it doesn't mean much to me if I just paid for all of the rewards. Like, the feeling of accomplishment comes from that progress of you're putting in the effort to get to that point. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just my thoughts on on that. But back to the mythics. So you don't need to craft every mythic in the game in order to have a good time, at least right now. But there are some crappy mythics. So if you just look at, like, a tier list, whether it's from Tacit, Key Lime, or myself, or one of the other Gems of War YouTubers. I'm not sure if Sitting Cool has a tier list for mythics, but if he does, you can check that out too. And just, you know, kind of check out what the mythics are that we all say. I wouldn't just, you know, follow one person's tier list. I would compare, like, mine to Tacit and Key Lime and to whoever else did one, and just, like, see what the consensus is on which mythic troops are good, and then just, you know, write down, like, the best, like, 5 mythics, and just save up your diamonds and just craft those 5, and then look up teams for those 5, and you know, you should have a pretty good time in Gems of War just with, like, the top 5 mythics. But that's the good thing about crafting. So you do want to open up that Soulforge as soon as possible, so you can start crafting those mythic troops, because that's a guaranteed mythic. And we're doing the Pridelands kingdom here, so I'm not positive, but I think the class for this kingdom is Sunspear, which is a pretty good class because it has that firestorm that starts at every beginning of every turn, which so you can build some really good like red teams around that. There's some troops like the mythic troop Phoenicia that really it doubles its damage if there's a firestorm going, so that class is almost necessary for using that troop. Yeah, these last few quests really do take a little bit longer because the life and armor on these guys is more than it was in the beginning. There we go. Do this. But yeah, as far as like my favorite troops in the game, just like troops that I use the most, probably like Rowan and Leprechaun. Leprechaun definitely, because he just, I mean, you can add Leprechaun to like any team, and most of the time he's gonna make it better. I mean, there's some teams where you can do where you're gonna get mana blocked and it won't be that great, but the fact that it explodes the board like it does, and especially in like a gold team like this, it's really good because not only is it exploring the board, but it's also giving you gold. So yeah, I would say definitely Leprechaun is one of my favorite troops in the game. Like, as far as non-legendary troops go and non-mythics go, Leprechaun's definitely up there. Rowan is up there too. Just because for like if you're doing XP farming, all of your adventure boards, even like dungeons, like Rowan is just a really useful troop for doing a lot of those daily activities. Like if you're farming delves, I always use Rowan. So that's definitely up there. Wow, lots of gems connecting there. There we go. Now, we have to contend with this behemoth. It is behemoth versus behemoth. Well, not entirely, because Bronze Lock Pistol was doing a lot of the damage. And that's the end of the Pridelands quest line. Let's go and unlock, yep, it is the Sunspear class. So we got to do our 4 battles here to unlock it, and then we can take a look at its traits and talents and all that good stuff. Yeah, get that 4 match down there, get this 4 match, get this 4 match. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice. We got a nice green patch of gems there. And it is a vault event this weekend, so we got a nice glory gnome there. We could just get straight up glory, or it could be a vault key. I don't need vault keys necessarily. I mean, I could always use them, but we don't really need one this time around because we saved up 10 of them, and there's a video, one of those episodes. Oh, we just got glory this time around. That's fine. Yeah, one of those episodes, I got really, really lucky with Cedric. And that is a troop that you definitely want to go for. So, yeah. I do apologize too if like the lighting is a little bit dark on my camera. It's not really the camera, it's more like the room. It's just I don't have a lot of good like lighting in this part of the room. And it is like 3:30 in the morning right now, so it's dark outside, so I can't even like open a curtain and get some daylight in here. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to buy like some kind of probably one of those tall lamps. I could put it like behind my monitor screens that you can't see because the camera is like up there above the monitors. But like behind my computer desk where the monitors are, I'm thinking of buying like one of those tall lamp things. And that way there will be a lot of light like on my face, and it'll like, you know, the light will go like behind me, so at least my face will be illuminated the whole time. I'll just have to invest in that at some point. Because I know it's a little bit dark. I can see what it looks like, you know, like that. This, the monitor screens too, like I'm sure that looks a little weird, like when the monitor screen goes a little bit dark and my face kind of looks like it's going into the shadows. Anyway. Just rambling about things. We got a guild task completed. I thought that was a weapon or something. Anyway, let's go take a look at the Sunspear class. Because we unlocked it. Sunspear class. Where are you? There you are. So this is one of my favorites because this right here, you gotta have it fully traded. It's called Heat Wave. It will create a firestorm at the start of every turn, and what that does is it will make more red gems fall down on the board as long as that storm is going on. And since it's going to start at every single time your turn starts, there's always going to be that storm going. So that's fantastic. Then as far as talents go, there are some good ones in here. Root Trap at level 10 is fantastic. Anytime I see that, I always select it. And then you have a couple of options here. Nature's Aura, Firestarter. The Firestarter, actually these things don't really make a whole lot of sense. I mean, normally you kind of, you know, normally you would use these in certain situations, like if you had a leprechaun and you wanted to explode the board and you have a leaf storm here at the start of the battle, that'll give you more green gems immediately. But the problem is that when you fully trait this class, there's going to be a firestorm starting every single turn. So Nature's Aura is only going to last one turn, and then it'll get ridden by that firestorm. Same thing with Firestarter here. It's like that doesn't make much sense. But anyway, so then you go down here and you get extra blue or red. Firebringer is probably what I would choose. Then finally at level 100 you have Fireblade, which deals triple skull damage. Your hero will deal triple skull damage to burning enemies. So what I would like, you could choose anything really here, but I like to choose Snap Freeze, Insulated, Root Trap, Water Binding, and probably Deluge, and then Firebringer, and then Fireblade. That's what I would choose in that talent tree. So then if we look at the weapon, it's not really that amazing. So I would just level up the class just to use it for the Firestorm. But the weapon is called Flame Soul. And Flame Soul, when you can choose a mana gem, you'll deal 11 damage to each enemy of that color and burn them. Give all allies of that matching color 4 attack. So this might be a weapon. I mean, you could use it once you get the class to level 100 just to burn that first enemy. And then you could get that triple skull damage. But yeah, Sunspear is a pretty good class. I think it's like within the top 10 classes in the game. Simply because of that Firestorm at the start of every turn. It's incredibly useful in a lot of red teams. So, yeah, that's it, guys, for episode 28. And I will see you guys in episode 29, where we take on the Sword's Edge Kingdom. Catch you guys in the next one. Later.